Good afternoon. So yes, RAMPMD, as Rick explained, is the Regional Additive Manufacturing Partnership of Maryland. Next slide. RAMPMD was originally formed as the Northeast Maryland Additive Manufacturing Innovation Authority. So yeah, that was NAMAMIA, I guess. So we quickly rebranded to RAMPMD. And I hope you all appreciate that. It was formed by legislation in 2014 that was co-sponsored by J.B. Jennings and Mary Delaney James, and it was passed unanimously. The nexus of RAMPMD was, and the goal of the bill was to grow jobs and grow good jobs, in this region and across Maryland. And those jobs are tied to additive manufacturing and the industries that support that. So our board is a fairly large, all-volunteer board. We've got about 25 members. We have representation from a broad array of our community here in Harford and Cecil County, as well as across the state of Maryland. We have representation from engineers, managers, analysts, scientists for small businesses and large businesses within the community. We also have representation from the government labs that you see here and also and other government agencies here at APG. Another important aspect of our board membership is local and state government, which is very well represented here today. Economic development offices of Harford and Cecil County, as well as the Department of Commerce at the state level. And last but not least are the academic and workforce development personnel that serve on our board. That's a huge underpinning of what it is we're trying to do with RAMPMD and in this community moving forward. The mission of RAMPMD is executed by this board, and that execution is based on 4 main working areas. The first is education. We work with K through 12 community colleges, Harford and Cecil community colleges, as well as the University System of Maryland. And we work with them on additive manufacturing curricula. We also work on partnerships. Partnerships is a huge part of what we do at RAMPMD. RAMPMD forms public-private partnerships in between industry and the Army RDECOM agencies here on post at APG, and I'll have more information on that. One other big piece of what we do is outreach, hosting conferences, symposia, attending events like this here in the local region across Maryland and outside of the state of Maryland as well. And then we also provide resources such as developing consortia, or the basis for consortia for grant proposals, things like that, investor programs, also contractual mechanisms, and then we also like to work to leverage tech transfer between the DoD entities and industry. Next slide. So the mechanism that businesses use to partner with federal agencies is called a CRADA. That's the Cooperative Research and Development Agreement. CRADAs are typically a very burdensome process to get a CRADA in place, and for both the industry partner as well as the government agency that they're working with. One of the benefits that we bring is we have a CRADA in place with RDECOM, in particular with ECBC. And that CRADA allows a streamlined process for industry to access the resources that are here on post, both at ECBC and across the RDECOM elements. That is executed through joint work statements with our industry partners. And those joint work statements are set up at no cost to our industry partners, and in relatively quick time, especially in comparison to drawing up a new CRADA. Next slide. So who are these industry partners? Well, the JWS process has worked pretty well for us over the past 3+, almost 4 years. We've added 17 JWS partners. They're not just here in northeastern Maryland. They are companies that are in Harford and Cecil County, but also Baltimore County, Baltimore City, Howard County, Montgomery County. We've got also JWS holders from outside the state of Maryland, from North Carolina, and a couple internationally. Next slide. And through these partnerships, we've seen our JWS holders add 244 new jobs in the last 4 years. We think that's a great number. We'd love to see it even more. We'd like to add more JWS holders and work with them to create more jobs as well. And the types of jobs that we endeavor to help grow and enhance here at APG in Harford County, in Cecil County, and across Maryland, they're not necessarily 3D printer technician jobs. So that could be one of them, operating a 3D printer. But there's a whole list of jobs that surround additive manufacturing, this digital manufacturing world that we're moving into. Those types of jobs, they go from anywhere from product design, computer analysis, reverse engineering, like Brad talked about, manufacturing engineering, material science, which ARL is very much involved in. Those are all critical aspects to what we need to grow and do in additive manufacturing to further the technology. Next slide. So I highlighted the fact that we've seen growth within our joint work statement holders, but that's also reflected within the industry sector as a whole for additive manufacturing. In 2012, the market was about $2 billion. It's grown to nearly $9 billion as of 2017. Over the next 2 years, it's expected to double, and then over the next 4 years, it's expected to triple. So this is a growing industry, and that also doesn't take into account all of the industries that are supported in kind with additive manufacturing being used to help advance maybe smaller pieces of what those industries do. Building jigs, building tooling for other traditional manufacturing methods. These are not exclusive technologies. Additive manufacturing doesn't necessarily replace traditional manufacturing. In fact, it can enhance traditional manufacturing methods and enable those companies that are working in that field to do even more with what they're already doing. So next slide. So, we lost one. There we go. Okay. We're in a unique position here in Maryland, in the state of Maryland as a whole. Maryland is seen as a leader in defense, in aerospace, and also in biotech and biomedical research. The reason I mention that is that those are the types of industries that rely on and have benefited from additive manufacturing and have also helped develop additive manufacturing technologies throughout the years and have gotten them to where they are today. You see that in some of the presentations from ECBC and ARL thus far. So this puts us in a really good position geographically. The co-location of these types of industries within the state and also in cooperation with our DoD assets, it positions Maryland to become possibly a Silicon Valley of additive manufacturing technologies. We can use this as a springboard to draw more industry to our region and to our state. Next slide. Oh, that's it. Sorry, but I've got some more. But we can't get there alone to the Silicon Valley. So what I ask is for everyone to kind of look at this slide. This illustrates an additive manufacturing ecosystem. You may see your yourself somewhere in this ecosystem. And it acts as a catalyst for growth. It expands our industrial base. And then, but we also need your help. You know, RAMPMD needs your help. The APG community needs your help. We need to bring additional businesses to this community, to this ecosystem from across Maryland, from outside of Maryland, across the United States, and even internationally, so that we can all work together and learn, you know, from each other within this ecosystem. So we need to further expand our educational and workforce development efforts. We need to better understand the roadblocks that your organizations, that your constituents have related to manufacturing, to additive manufacturing. Find areas where additive manufacturing can help to bring on growth to their companies. And also, what kind of roadblocks do they have in bringing in qualified people for these higher technology positions? We're positioned in this area to help. So this is one of the reasons that we're here today. We call on everybody in the audience to bring that message, you know, out of this room with them to their community, and then also bring the feedback back to us. You know, we'd be happy to be that conduit for the general and for the APG staff and the agencies here to help them understand what we can do to further work as a cohesive ecosystem.
All right, thank you, Chris. So tell me, who here thought someone left their cell phone on? What's making that noise in the background?
Oh.
And so I went back, I was just checking on something that's going on in the back there. And it was actually Mayor McCready from Aberdeen City. Mayor, good to have you here. Who pointed out that, you know, for some of us, we didn't really define exactly what is additive manufacturing. So shame on me as the MC. So I'm bringing up one of our subject matter experts here. Brad, if you can, tell us a little about what exactly is additive manufacturing.
Additive manufacturing. Usually start off your presentation additive manufacturing. So regular subtractive manufacturing, machining, you have a block of material, you're cutting material away. It's subtractive until you get your final shape. Additive manufacturing, you're adding material layer by layer by layer. Think of it as building a loaf of bread one slice at a time. That's the best analogy that I've come up with or thought of. So you take that end slice of the loaf of bread that no one wants to eat, you put that down on the table, you take the next slice, and wham, you have a loaf of bread. Same thing, you're building parts up layer by layer, additively, by different materials, usually a polymer or with metals. I was going to mention that the machine that's running back there right now is actually running, that's the machine that's deployed with PM Scott. It's actually running a part that was made in Afghanistan with the Rapid Equipping Force, who also has additive manufacturing deployed. And the part is a battery adapter for night vision goggles. This normally takes, I believe it's AA batteries. It's in a little cartridge that looks like this. So they slide that cartridge out. We 3D print this off, add a voltage regulator in it, and put this cap on the end, and a little cable that comes out the back that attaches to a larger battery, and they can slide that into their night vision goggles, and they have a lot more battery life than they normally would with the regular AA batteries that are going in there. But that's additive manufacturing in a nutshell. You're adding